Hi, I'm Steve Russell. I'm the CEO of Prism Skylabs. We help businesses understand and engage their customers using the surveillance video cameras that are already in the places that they own and run. I don't know a lot. I've been starting companies now for, well, I don't know, I guess it's been going on 15 years, and when I started I was this close to becoming a lawyer. In fact, I've been accepted at Stanford. I was getting ready to go, and my econ professor, who'd been kind of a mentor of mine, took me aside and said, "Steve, do anything else but be a lawyer." In fact, he said something like, "You could go, I know you like starting companies, you're entrepreneurial, you could go start a company and the worst thing could happen to you. The absolute worst thing could happen to you, and you'd still be better off than you would in the law." And it was kind of one of those profound moments where he was so earnest and kind of committed in his advice that I took it. And so I started a company right out of school. This was in 1996, and boy did it fail. Everything that could go wrong. I lost family money. I lost friends. I was in court for a year with folks trying to pick up the pieces and take care of investors and other folks, and so it was a pretty big hurdle. But I kind of got to the other side of it and chuckled to myself that, yeah, it still worked out pretty good. You learned a lot from the experience, and continued to build companies after that, and they keep getting a little bit better each time. And so maybe that was the biggest, the first one. The first hurdle out of the gate was sort of the biggest stumbling block, but there's no shortage of them out there. Gosh, so what has tripped me out? There's lots of things I think that you learn. It's just funny how when you start doing this, how you're confronted with a lot of kind of conventional wisdom around words and concepts that I think are very difficult to appreciate when you're first starting. Truisms around the importance of teams, the importance of markets. Listening to your customers, good product design, and so it's funny. I think I've been tripped up on really every single one of those metrics, and or those areas, and you'll learn a little bit over time. Starting companies is such a constrained optimization process. I think it's very easy for the best and the brightest and the most well-funded companies out there to kind of look back and talk about their perfect rises to the top, but for the rest of us, we're trying to kind of make do with the pieces and scraps that we can get together, and so learning how to do that optimization can be tricky, and it can trip you up. It's funny though that I could tell you stories about teams and product, but market. But in the end, I think a lot of the stuff that sort of tripped me up is I think classically what causes founders to fumble, which is really two things. One, lack of focus, and it's really easy to get tripped up when you're trying to do too much, right? And I think the other thing that often sort of trips you up is not knowing your own limitations. It's sort of funny now starting companies. I am much more focused on just surrounding myself with great and committed people as I can. And when I was just starting up, I think there was a tendency to think that sort of maybe I had to do everything. That you're the founder, you're the CEO, you're sort of supposed to know the answers to all the questions. And the truth is, some founders are really great visionaries. Some of them are really great, technologists or marketers or salespeople, and you can really trip up and kind of get in trouble if you try to do the things that you're not good at. And so that tripped me up. As I learned, I was not good at a lot of things. But thankfully, there was a lot of people around me that were. God, you know, it's sort of all over. And one of the things I really sort of love about this business and events like this is that there's really no shortage of really diverse, smart, you know, impassioned people to just sort of talk through and work through ideas. Sort of no shortage of wise entrepreneurs who maybe made a little money and can't, you know, quite get this out of their system. One friend of mine who's a venture capitalist will often say, well, you know, one says, you know, the advice is free, the money is expensive. And so, you know, I think the folks handing out money tend to be great sources of advice. And so some of the advice I give, that I'm now giving to entrepreneurs, is to go out and have coffee and to talk to as many folks as you can. You know, doing the financing and what those terms are and how much you're selling your company for. And these are all sort of very complex and you can get in the weeds. But the sort of steps before that are always fun and they're always useful. And the financing process, and both specifically and in general, is just a great opportunity to interact with people who have been there before and have a lot to share. So I think my investors have been sort of incredibly valuable resources. But even saying all that, they're probably second place to team members. That there's just kind of a unique, you know, combination of, you know, passion and intensity that I think that comes with the folks that want to sort of throw their lot in around an idea at this stage. And so, you know, more important than the practical advice, you know, can be the inspiration that those people provide. And so they're, you know, maybe a more important resource, you know, from that perspective. So the abyss that I'm standing at the edge of now is a new company that I've started. So Prism Skylabs is, you know, one of those new, fresh, great ideas, perhaps sort of the best business I've ever been lucky enough to be, you know, associated with, and as just good a team as I've ever been a part of. But it's 8-month-old. It's a deep technology endeavor that will impact, that could impact many different sort of markets and applications. I gave you a very sort of short spiel about it, but one of the things from a technology standpoint that Prism's doing is enabling video, which the kind of cameras that are all around us, there's 40 million of them in the US, but no one really uses, except outside of maybe a few security people that go in the closet, to sort of unlock all the information that's hidden within all those video cameras. That's a very tough technical problem, right? Video is very thorny to move around. It's sort of very thorny to process. And the long and the short of it is that we have, through sort of combination technologies, come up with a way to both get video offsite into the cloud at 1/100th the size of the kind of HD video people conventionally think of, as well as to do all sorts of very interesting processing analysis on that video to suss out understanding from it. Cloud has really, you know, is impacting a lot of businesses that are out there, both that's just the business model and sort of the limitless computing and storage available in the cloud, but it hasn't impacted yet this somewhat archaic, large but somewhat archaic market of video and video surveillance. And so we spend a lot of time at the company just thinking about what's the right next step to take. What's the, you know, are we going the high end of this market? Are we going out to everybody? Are we showcasing the toughest thing about our technology? Is it the easiest thing? Are we selling through a channel? Are we selling directly? These are critical you know, questions that will sort of define the business next years. So making the correct decisions in this context is I guess, an abyss of sorts. I think also we're, being at this stage, we're continuing to build the team. We're about 13 folks right now. We'll probably be growing to about 20 by year end. Every single person in a company of this size has to be really the right person for the job, and they're going to set they're the foundation of the business. They're going to set the culture for the business for a long time to come. So I really agonize over those kind of decisions. So what inspires me? I mean, this business inspires me. The people around me inspire me. There's, I just can't imagine, doing anything else at this point. There's, I think when I was little, I kind of got it in my head that I was going to be, I was going to change the world, or be in politics, or I don't know what I thought I was going to do. And what I've really found is that today, anyway, the biggest engines of sort of social change are the technologies that we're creating here. And there is, you've got somebody like Craig Venter, who does, in a year with venture capital, what the Human Genome Project was going to do with, $1 billion over a decade. You have things what Google did for library sciences that can't match, education investments that sort of also went on over decades. And so that, I think, that notion still really inspires me, that there's kind of no greater place to do genuine innovation and make a meaningful impact. I think the people in this business are really inspiring as well. I think that you sort of, kind of top to bottom, all sort of aspects of the kind of technology startup world are populated with a set of people that could do anything. They could do anything, and they choose this for lots of reasons. Sometimes idealistic, sometimes esoteric, sometimes egotistical, but that you sort of put them and stir them all together in a pot, and it's there's just no more fun you can have. So who inspires me? So, my family, inspires me a lot. My dad was, my dad passed away this year, and I grew up outside of Detroit, and everybody around me, although I didn't really know it at the time, was an entrepreneur of sorts. A different kind of entrepreneur than we sort of find in the technology world. No one's sort of handing these guys $10 million and say go build a business. But these were people that sort of started a laundry, self-funded a laundromat, which turned into 2, which turned into 3. Started an auto dealership, and turned into 2 and 3 and 4. And I really remember my looking up to my father in this way, in his entrepreneurial endeavors, and really kind of concluding, and it may just sort of been the crucible that I was in growing up. Well, I was really finding a lot of respect for what they were doing, and seeing so much challenge in what they did, and also finding some sort of order and justice in life. As some of these folks that worked so hard, actually accomplishing something meaningful, and sort of kind of doing something important, and having rich and fulfilling lives. And so that class of entrepreneur still really inspires me. And they're not everyone, but I think you find them all over the place. There's a lot of other folks too, but maybe them most of all.